Could you explain how radiation badges work? I know they detect radiation, but I'm curious as to how it does that. Great question. And to first explain, a radiation badge is like a little badge a person would wear on their torso somewhere, and it measures the dose that a radiation worker gets in, say, a quarter of a year. And the way they work is very similar to, say, semiconductors. Not quite the same, but the idea with semiconductors is that I give it a different electronic property by doping it with a certain type of an element, whether it's phosphorus or boron, to make it more, say, negative-ish or more positive-ish. In other words, it's easier to hold on to an electron or it's easier to lose an electron. Now, that's what we do with semiconductors. We can also do that with other materials. And if it's a crystalline material, say lithium fluoride or alumina, we can dope that material with a defect such that we know as a function of dose how much electrons will get trapped at those sites. And we do that by calibrating them. The way that you calibrate a radiation badge is you get a bunch of representative badges and you send them off to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and you ask them to give them all very known doses. Basically, you put the dosimeter right up next to a calibrated source like cobalt 60 or cesium 137, something like that. And you know the dose rate at a given point, so you expose it for a fixed period of time, and you do that at different locations to get different doses and for over different times. And then when you bring it back, you measure that signal. So there are two ways we can do it: with thermoluminescence, where you just simply heat the crystal, or optically stimulated luminescence, where you shine a laser light on it. And they'll give off a signal that you can measure with photomultiplier tubes and some light filters to filter out the laser light so that you can quantify the light that's given off as a function of dose. And once you have that calibration, you're able to interpolate what a dose is for some new dosimeter badge that comes in that gives off a certain amount of signal. So the signal that's given off on that badge is proportional to dose, and you simply get it calibrated and you're able to work it that way. So I hope that makes sense. There's a lot of actual solid state modern physics that goes in there, and I hope that I brought it down to a level that this audience will appreciate. Thanks for the question. I hope that answered it, and I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.